So when I started testosterone, I figured I'd be on it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But what I didn't know, all I Googled was where to put it in my body. I thought I had to fill up the entire syringe every single time I injected. So from 135 pounds when I was injured to probably about 6 or 7 months later, I got up to 235.
Okay. What is up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Here with Vinnie from Faze Up Nutrition. I have a local supplement shop owner from Jefferson Hills. I'm going to have him do the ASMR sip, so you can crack open some Perrier and sip it on camera. He'll now be selling farts in a jar for 20 grand after this video. Anyways, I met Vinnie during my recovery process because I needed some MK677 on the bloat lord. So I went out to his supplement shop and Vinnie struck me as a very real, authentic dude. And in Pittsburgh, I would like to see the fitness space grow.
Exactly.
You know, there's not much going on here. However, Vinnie opened up to me about a crazy story about his whole pathway of steroid abuse that led towards, again, you're reading the title, but I want to open it up to Vinnie to give this story because with the TikTok boys these days, you know, everyone is falling down the rabbit hole very young, and you did not have a good outcome and you realigned your life after. So I feel like there's a lot of useful information that can be taken from your story. So I guess like get started on how you got into enhanced bodybuilding,
Okay.
and then we'll just go through how your story played.
Yeah, honestly, thanks for having me. So I would say steroids have always been like a focal point since I first started lifting. I was a tiny kid. I was like 5'5" in high school, 130 pounds. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I saw bigger, stronger, faster. And I was like, let me get it.
Shout out Chris Bell. Chris Bell watches the podcast, so he'll be for sure seeing that
That's
you
awesome.
were influenced by Chris Bell, like hard mitigating steroids. But you're like, yeah.
Dude, I was like, no, this sounds awesome.
Okay.
So I joined the Marine Corps, and then I got injured pretty bad. I'd hurt my shoulder, and I got super skinny, super small. Naturally, I was probably 160 pounds. Still pretty strong, but nothing of what I wanted. So one of my best friends, he was one of the biggest dudes I had seen in the squadron, and he was the connect for testosterone originally.
So how did they like regulate steroids in the Marine Corps?
It's illegal, but they don't check for it.
Okay.
So like whenever I started to grow and get bigger, what they would do is just check me if I still fit in my uniforms.
Okay.
Because the drug testing, exactly.
That's kind of funny.
The drug testing was pretty expensive to try to get everyone on that. But
how many people do you think in your squadron were like juicing?
well, I found out a lot after because they were hitting me up for it. But there, at the time, I had my circle of like 4 or 5 people that we knew we did it, and we had helped each other get a hold of it and everything.
I don't know like the hierarchy, but did your like leader, like once you guys were on sauce, was he like kind of like for it, or was he backing you away from it?
A couple of them knew that we were on it because they were on it as well.
Okay.
But it's not anything that you would just want to sit and talk about because you could get NJP'd, you can get kicked out. It's pretty serious in the Marine Corps for that. It was supposed to be like a clean institution, and that's where I found all the drugs was in the military.
Yeah. I have a lot of guys message me, and I always wonder, like, I guess it's just like politic for politic, how each person runs it.
Yep. I always firmly believe that like everyone in the military should be on something because there's a lot of there's a lot.
I think police officers as well.
Most
like
definitely.
when you're in a shot or be shot situation, you want the CNS firing as fast.
I want that
as you
aggression
can.
to come out a little bit.
Yeah. Did you when you decided to jump on, which seems like peer pressure in the military, did you like know like that was like this is a life-altering decision, or were you just kind of like playing around?
So when I started testosterone, I figured I'd be on it for the rest of my life.
Okay.
But what I didn't know, all I Googled was where to put it in my body. I thought I had to fill up the entire syringe every single time I injected. So from 135 pounds when I was injured to probably about 6 or 7 months later, I got up to 235.
Okay.
And that's with testosterone and DECA. Yeah, DECA was my first cycle. So, but that was literally just completely filling up syringes.
And what was that like? Because I mean, dude, that seems like a hyper response.
It was very weird. So like I got addicted to the number on the scale. Basically, it wasn't even what I was doing. I've never been this size. And then the looks you start getting from people in the comments, it all becomes just a mental addiction. But being that size definitely became very uncomfortable because I am a small framed person naturally.
Yeah.
So I was holding a lot, and I got a lot of, I had sleep apnea almost instantly, had no idea what was going on, dying in my sleep. My ex-wife waking me up with sternum rubs. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That's another big, like, silent killer.
Yeah.
Is like, personally, I can't, like, I've been around 280 and I'm like,
no,
I couldn't do it.
And you're a lot bigger frame.
Yeah. Even then I was like, man, I can't believe those people exist up at 300 pounds.
Walking around doing it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So as you like mentally developed during that time, like, do you think you became a quote unquote completely different person? Or do you think you stuck with like, okay, this is just the juice doing this?
I think I held out for like who I truly was for quite a while. It wasn't until I started getting out of the Marine Corps. I mean, we all have paths in our life where we can tell if we didn't go left and went right, things would have been completely different. I did a bench press competition, and I caught the attention of a female, not my wife. And she kind of pursued me pretty hard, and I don't know what it was. It's like, this just isn't my morals. This isn't how I feel. This isn't how I believe. But for some reason, I was drawn to it. One big reason is because she became my supplier.
A female supplier, dude. The plot thickens.
It was pretty bad. She was like a really top, pretty high up there in like powerlifting, and she was getting really good stuff. And it got to a point to where I found myself driving to her house, and I can close my eyes and I can picture sitting in my candy apple red El Camino.
Okay.
And I was like, Vinnie, don't go in. Just turn around and go home. And I didn't listen to myself. It gives you kind of like, it feels like something's pulling on you whenever you're kind of pretty deep into it. And it's the chemical alterations that happens. You just really don't think about consequences as much. And I went inside, and that was kind of the beginning of the downfall.
Was she enhanced like heavily too?
She really wasn't. She was just kind of a really small frame person, just be able to pack on muscle, pack on strength. She never did anything crazy, but she had everything. And if I cooperated, I got it for free. How
were your friends like outside observing you? Like, I mean, you got out of the Marines. That was a very structured environment. It seemed like you had stuff going for you in the realm of juicing. Like, you're kind of self-admittedly like not being chained down. Like, how were your friends reacting as this story played?
I tried to hide a lot of it from them. I was ashamed the whole time with how everything was going. I didn't really talk much about what I was doing. They kind of knew what was going on, but I wasn't given details. I was a little bit embarrassed to myself, but I couldn't figure out how to stop it, because it's either confess and lose my marriage, or confess and lose this plug that I got that I couldn't get away from. Yeah.
Like, did you notice the tension in the marriage immediately, or was it pretty smoke screened for a long time?
It was kind of immediate, because I was starting to, it's like I was pushing her away. I was starting to pick fights to try to get her upset and everything, putting blame where it wasn't supposed to be. And it kind of feels like a jumbled mess when I think about that time, where it's, where was my mind at? What did I want? Because I really don't know what I wanted, you know? So it was a lot of me just picking a fight to get her out of my hair so that I can continue to do what I was doing.
And then how was she intervening? Like, do you feel like she was throwing gasoline on the fire, or do you think she was effectively putting it out and you were blazing it back up?
She would definitely be the one to put it out, and I spark it right back up. She would be the one to take the space, go away for a little bit, and let me collect myself. And I just kept pushing, just kept going. Now, the first time I figured out what Tren was, it all kind of went 0 to 100. This is no longer testosterone, just enhancing what I already got, everything like that. This is, for me, in that time of my life, getting out of the Marine Corps, I lost basically all sense of purpose. So I go from this high stress job. I have a meaning. There's a reason for what I'm doing. I'm providing for my daughter. I'm providing for my wife. And then I get out and care about none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had found a job at this kind of like my shop, a mom and pop shop down in North Carolina. And I was actually on a pretty good track to own one of his stores,
Mm-hmm.
but my mind wouldn't let me do it. So I just kept going down that road of intermingling myself with this woman just because I didn't know where else to get this shit from.
Like, let's play the opposite. How was the woman that seemed to be vampiring you? Like, how was she operating as you seemed to, like, obviously cave and your life seemed to spiral outside of her, you know?
She was basically trying to, every day it was in my head, you need to leave your wife, it was like a love bomb, basically. You need to come here, be with me, we can make this, this power couple, we can sell steroids, and we can do all this stuff, open a gym, have a supplement store, just painting this beautiful life that to me didn't make sense. Because yes, I cheated, but I still wanted my family.
Right.
So it was kind of like a disgusting thing that I'm battling within myself. Because like I said, that was never anything that would ever cross my mind. So it, in a way, it was like trying to please her and please my wife at the same time so that I can continue. And I think that that would make really anyone go a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Did she ever like kind of like give you an ultimatum or?
All the time.
Okay.
All
How'd
the time.
that go?
That was bad because that's where my fits of rage would come in, because now I'm starting to be controlled. You're starting to tie me down and you're starting to dictate what I can and cannot do. So that's where the first time I've ever felt an uncontrollable anger was probably during that time where it's like you go blind, you don't see anything. But with my rages, I've never geared it towards anybody. I was always the one that was in trouble. It would ultimately come back on me if anything was to happen. It wasn't going to hurt anybody else. I would get rid of the problem. I was the problem. So you would think that like once you realize that this would be like, hey, you need to slow down. I had a 1-year-old at the time, and this is what she's going to grow up and be around. Is kind of scary to think about.
What guided you towards Tren? And Tren is like the most androgenic steroid, and like back then Tren kind of more like held the, hey, you're an extreme abuser if you're doing Tren. Nowadays, you know, kids are starting off with Tren.
You would think you could find it at GNC the way they talk about it.
Yeah. You would think like, okay, that's not a beginner cycle.
Right.
But people will do it for, you know, whatever reason to get attention these days. It seemed like you're kind of holding it together. You had some sort of logic of like, my life's about to fall apart. And then you threw in Tren. Like, what led you towards Tren? Why did you do Tren? And how did you change after Tren with the, you know, events already coming up? So
what led me to it, I would say, I'm the type of person, if you tell me it makes me bigger and stronger, give me 2. I have a very addictive personality, but I can control that in certain aspects. Like, if I didn't have that supply, I wouldn't have been doing as much as I did, right? I wouldn't be searching it or seeking it. But I had as many vials as you could think of at my disposal. So once I felt what that felt like, it's like being like Superman. And even your emotions turn off, which is very dangerous. You couldn't make me laugh, cry, nothing. I was just so monotone all the time, just completely straightforward with everything. Now, getting into it, like I said, I was doing about 800 milligrams a week.
The max I've done for my audience is like 400 for 2 days, and was like, I was a bipolar maniac, and
very bad.
I was also very antisocial as well. Like it was only like, do I need to talk to you? If not, I don't want to talk to you.
And that's what kind of scared everybody. I shut everyone out. The people that I would talk to every day, I no longer spoke to. And even though you could be my neighbor, you wouldn't see me. My whole life became inject myself, go to the gym, and come home. I didn't want to do anything else. And I think that was like a coping mechanism with realizing I'm losing everything. This is all I got. I'm going to go full steam into it. So like the Tren was kind of a way to, I don't feel what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
So the anger and the rage that takes over, that's all that matters at that point. So if my ex-wife is crying and upset, it can't affect me. This girl's trying to tell me I have to be with her, that can't affect me. Give me my shit, let me go do my thing. That's basically how it was.
What was your end manifestation when you were in we'll call it the Tren vision, you know?
If I'm being completely honest, for the longest time, like I was doing that much for near 4 years, never came off of it. 800 for that long. There was a point in time where I kind of accepted that this is what's going to kill me, because you know what's going on inside and you can feel it.
Yeah, your kidneys are everything screaming.
Yeah. And I had never checked on my blood, never once looked at it, never once had a doctor look at it. I was terrified to let them know what I was doing. So I stayed away from it all. But it was leading into that is probably what got me through losing my family, figuring out whatever the fuck to do with this chick, and just run and gun it with it, you know? It was kind of weird.
So you admitted your life is falling apart. What were the exact event timelines when you're doing 800 a week in self-admitted full addiction?
So my ex-wife had moved away. She came up to Pennsylvania when we were in North Carolina to live with my parents. She had to get away from me. There was a real pivotal moment. My dad had called me, and of course I was taking steroids, but he never heard me say it. So he had called me and he had said some choice words. He was explaining to me how if I cared as much about my biceps as I did my family, I'd be a half-decent dad, half-decent man. And I kind of hung on to that. And he had asked me if I took steroids, and I said, you know what, Dad, I do. And I take a lot of it, and I can't control it, and I can't stop it. And he said, if you stop and think about everything you've done, I think you could stop it. And this was the last words he heard from me. And I said, if I stop and think about what I've done, I'm ending it right now. And I hung up on him. And that was the first time I ever saw, I've always known he's cared, but he drove from Pennsylvania to North Carolina to come get me. And he brought me back. I tried, at least I thought I probably wasn't trying at all. I was telling myself I was trying to fix everything, be better, lying to them. I've also found insulin at this time. So it was, it was a lot of shaky days of, am I about to die today, or am I going to make it to the next one?
I can relate to that. I relate to that 100%.
Several times when I seen like the TV turning off, you know what I'm saying? So it was a very shaky time. So I can't say so much that I was trying my best to fix everything. I was just trying to lie to them so that I can keep going.
Yeah.
But being home, this is where like the whole manic started setting in. Like I didn't even start taking care of myself. My beard was flared out everywhere. I had hair everywhere. Like I didn't even get a haircut. Going from getting a haircut and shaving every morning in the military to looking like a complete fucking bum. And but when I took my shirt off, I was like, hey, this is fucking nice.
Yeah, the demigods right there.
So this was really the point of losing my mind, because one night at 3 a.m., I took our car and I drove back down to North Carolina to be with that girl. And no one knew where I was, couldn't get a hold of me, just because I was running out of my shit. I had to go get it.
It never crossed you like, find another plug?
No.
Okay.
It was free.
Got you.
It was free.
Got you.
And, I'd lost that paycheck of the military. I didn't have that supplement store anymore. And I was just living off a little bit of disability from the military. And where that should have been going to my child, to my wife, to my family, it all went to steroids. So I can realize everything that was happening. I knew what I was doing. It's not like I was blinded to it. But I just didn't give a fuck. And even to say that now, because I can see my daughter, I can see her in my face right now, and I just said I don't give a fuck. And that's disgusting. So it was a pretty dark time, and that was the beginning of it. And from there it just kept spiraling.
Again, I go back to this individual girl, like as a drug dealer. Like, you would think, like, this guy, like, you seem a bit unstable. It could hurt her ability to plug other guys. Like, was she ever giving you a check, or was always...
She was kind of like pushing it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was never a hey, you need to slow down. That's the thing is, even my ex-wife, she never told me to stop doing what I was doing, because I never really told her everything I was doing. I would just have this big ass jar of pins, and she just thought it was testosterone. So I really didn't have anyone telling me besides my dad, but who listens to their dad at 22, 23 years old?
Yeah, so you go back down there after the intervention. Your father goes out of his way. You're still clawing with it. What happens next?
We were kind of on the run when I went back down there.
Okay.
So it was... I mean, my parents were looking for her. They were looking for where she worked, who she knows. They were trying to end her life in every aspect of the way possible. And it was just pissing me off even more, because if you get rid of her, I can't get this shit anymore. So I became protective, and I was, fuck you, get out of my life. I don't need you. I don't want you. I can do this. And that was just, that was a really scary time. Because like...
So she basically got you to pick sides against your family, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, because all she kept saying was, if I go away, you don't get this anymore. So I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, what do you do?
When did the falling out with this woman happen? When did you like regain self and start?
It took about a year of me living back up here in PA. I was still getting it. I would have her mail it, but I had to hide it because then my ex-wife would see. I was trying to fix it with her, but the attachment to her had kind of left. I no longer felt the need to go to this woman. I was focused on fixing my marriage, and it failed, but because there was another hiccup. God, I'm a piece of shit.
What was this hiccup? I mean, you've let it all out. What was this
hiccup? Basically the 1 year anniversary of getting out of the Marine Corps. This is recent. I've been okay with it as of probably the last 4 or 5 years. You have to understand, going from this sense of purpose, brotherhood, camaraderie with
I see it all the time. You guys are so driven. You guys have schedules, and like each day you're in like accomplish. You get out into NPCville and the fluoride people are walking around, and you're like, what the fuck's going on?
I couldn't hold a job to save my life, and that was a little bit because of the anger issues. I couldn't have it. I couldn't have some kid tell me what to do when I used to take orders from people that controlled what the president does, what the country does. So it was very hard for me to switch that gear. So the whole transition from the military to civilian world was very hard. So there's a lot of things that I had piled on top of me as a young man, 23, 24 years old, that I have no idea how I could have figured it out, even if I wasn't on anything.
Do you think like the military should have, like, obviously it's a big topic, but like acclimation back into civilized life? It's a complaint that comes up and comes up and comes up. Like, do you feel like you were let down by the Marine Corps, or do you put that on your shoulders?
I don't put blame on them at all. I love the institution. I love what it was. They do. There's a period of time when you're about to get out where you go through classes of, building a resume and stuff like that. But you're not around civilian people. I couldn't, as soon as I got out of boot camp, I couldn't even have a conversation with kids I went to high school with. It was just a completely different wavelength. So there's really no way to acclimate you to that. They would have to just kick you off base and say, hey, go figure it out until you get out of the military. So you're sending these people, I mean, I wouldn't say brainwash, but they put in your head, I'm the fucking man. I'm a United States Marine. You can't hurt me. You can't do anything to me. If there's a problem, I can figure it out. And even the way that I speak would be a problem in civilian jobs because people would think I was angry or aggressive. I'm just blunt, honest, and straightforward. And that's very abrasive to people. And God forbid I say a cuss word. So that I was like, I mean, if you would have heard some of the stories we told each other at work, Nothing was off
Yeah,
limits.
and Marines, you guys are like the front lines. You guys like have to be lit up.
Dude, we're disgusting.
Yeah.
Everyone's gay. Everyone's nothing's off limits.
Correct.
Nothing's off limits.
Yeah, and like you guys got to rally each other up.
It was
because
bad.
That's the Marine Corps as a whole.
I'll tell you a quick story. My best friend, I gave him the shirt off my back, Jordan Beller. He's actually been through everything that he's watched me. He's been there for me. He has seen me bawl crying. He has seen me happy. He has seen every step of the way. He's one person that I would share absolutely everything with. How fucked up work would get. You get bored, and this chick had a jar of peanut butter. You decide to dunk his nuts in her peanut butter, right? Everybody in the squadron saw this dude's balls. So like it's just normal. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And you gotta think we shower with 90 dudes naked in boot camp. So it's like a dick is a dick.
Yeah. Well, you gotta say the other, like, civilians don't have brotherhood like that.
No.
You've experienced true brotherhood where you're in live combat and you have brothers.
There's a thing where like there was no matter what time of day, no matter what, his truck blew up when he was up in New York, and I left North Carolina with my wife, my little baby. I'm going to come get you. I got to bring you back because you'll get in trouble if you're not back by the time that you have to be. There's not a single thing I wouldn't do for that person, and that was also a hard thing getting out. Is I can't find that connection with anybody,
right?
Because I'm not going through anything with you,
right? So
it's hard times build that.
Correct.
And where's the hard times at? So.
Nowhere to be found, right? We're in the part where it's like the weak men are causing Rome to fall and all that shit. So let's steer you back towards your other hiccup that you said.
Okay.
You kind of ducked that, so this must be a hiccup that doesn't want to get out.
It's just disgusting to think of. So, like I said, the year anniversary, getting out. I'm still heavy on this shit. I'm still taking it, 800 milligrams. Probably. Did
you ever think of like lowering the dose,
no,
or like just more is better?
I actually wanted to do more because I figured my body was getting used to it. Okay, so I had.
Did you ever do your blood pressure on that?
No, I didn't. I didn't. So I still to this day, if I don't know about it, it's not hurting me. Mm-hmm. I only get my bloods checked because I have doctors monitoring this now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I know my baselines. Mm-hmm. But until there's an immediate problem like this heart attack, where I'm sitting in the bathtub and I'm like, what is this feeling? My arm's going numb. I'm feeling so much pain. It's like the day is turning off. I stand up, collapse through a door, and I wake up dressed in a car on my way to the ER. I say, hey, grab me 2 McDoubles before we go in. I was like, let's get this done. Uh-huh. So back to this story. The 1 year anniversary, I have a talk with my dad. I'm saying, hey, listen, I feel like I'm in a rut. I can't do this anymore. I feel like I need to just get in the car and drive till I hit water. I wanted to just go west. Well, around this time, I had caught the attention of another female. Mm-hmm. And constantly messaging me and constantly just infatuated with me just because of what I look like. You have no idea who I am. You have no idea what's going on in my head. Nothing. Mm-hmm. You don't even care that I have a daughter, a wife, nothing.
How did this individual come into your life?
It was actually pretty funny. So like there was a Facebook post that my sister had made, and I had commented something on it, and this girl commented on my comment. Never even seen her in my life, but it turns out she was around the same base I was with her ex-husband when I was in the Marine Corps.
So she had a husband as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, not at the time that I met her. She was married to a Marine before.
Okay. So you're kind of like a resemblance of like what she was molded towards?
I would say so.
Okay.
I couldn't speak for her, but she just started showing all this interest, and it's just praising what I look like and all this shit. And it's like, and everybody in this, I've never seen myself like anyone saw me. I'm still that 135 pound kid.
I'm a 140 pound distance runner as well, like it's never changed for me either.
It would kind of piss me off a little bit. It's like, what are you talking about? Like there's 20 other dudes that you can look at that look just like me. Tattoos, fucking muscles, that's it. But I think that's what kept me going, is I was never satisfied. So she was very persistent. And then I had that conversation with my dad. I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to see something else.
What made you want to like pick up and move west?
It wasn't moving. It was just driving.
Just driving. Okay.
I just wanted to drive.
Got you.
None of them would let me take my car. I just wasn't sane enough with how I was talking to be driving. So I bought a Greyhound ticket. I went to St. Louis, Missouri, and met this girl. No one knew where I was going. They thought I was going to California. They thought I was going to hit water. It wasn't until I pulled money out of an ATM and my ex-wife had saw it. And I guess this girl had posted a picture of me that I didn't know about. And this was the pivotal turning point where I was sitting in this state alone. This chick I didn't even know. I couldn't even.
What was it like when you got the gratification of meeting this other chick when you've already had predicaments with the plug chick?
I wasn't happy about it the entire time.
Okay.
I to be honest, I was about to I couldn't even be with her.
Okay. So it was like
I was just
rejection.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even I was, because like it was literally like, what the fuck are you doing? You're doing this again. And just when I was starting to regain trust, like the family, everyone, they're starting to trust me again. And look what the fuck I did. It's kind of like I woke up in Missouri and I'm like, how the fuck did I get here?
What was the epiphany?
Of realizing it?
Yeah.
When I saw her coming up to me.
Okay.
It's like, who the fuck is this? So it was a very like eye-opening moment of what the fuck are you doing? So like I spent 4 days there just trying to get back, and I had conversations with my ex-wife. I was apologizing. I was like, listen, I am so sorry. I don't know what brought me here. I don't know how it happened. I lied and I understand that, but that was her turning point as well. So that was she starting to plan her life to get me out of it. So that's she had joined the Air Force probably not too much longer after that. I would say like 6 or 7 months after that. But this, I think this girl was just a change of scenery. I was like, I hadn't progressed a single step since I had gotten out. Still doing the same shit. Go to the gym at 4 o'clock. I eat my food. I go home. I don't want to talk to.
Do you think like the gym cell lifestyle, like I call it the gym cell instead of the incel, like the incel sits on the computer, the gym cell sits in the gym. Like, was there anyone in your gym that tried to pull you out to do an activity?
No. Okay. And that's the thing. So I don't even welcome it. I'm the kind of person, it's like, I feel really good canceling a plan. You know, so
no. I'm an introverted type guy too as well, so I get that.
And I also like, I have this feeling like, why would, like, they don't want to hang out with me. Like, what do they want? Like, what's the purpose of it?
Right.
So it's
that's that Tren talk.
Yeah.
This ain't a part of the mission.
No, this is not what I'm doing. So what are you gonna like? There's nothing we can do that would make me feel any better. So like I had friends in the gym that I would talk to when I was there, but that was still all just hype coming at me. Like super fucking strong. Look at you, dude. You look awesome. So that's kind of where I went to like feed that. I lost track. Where were we going with that?
You're in Missouri. You stared at the girl and the light bulb switched
click.
on.
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't even remember her name. It's that bad. Like I couldn't even tell you her name.
What was her reaction when she did all this prying and she changed, like she yanked you?
She was so she had some issues too, like bipolar.
Okay.
She was a little bit crazy. So I was kind of like homeless in Missouri for a little bit.
How long? What's the timeline of this?
So I was there for about a week and a half is how long I sat there, not knowing where the fuck I was. Hanging out at a gas station for like 90% of the day because I didn't know where to go. And
what was your reflection during that? Because I'm sure that time went extremely slow.
Very slow. It was a lot of thinking. And it was a lot of just down talk to myself. I'm a fucking idiot. What are you doing? You're disgusting. You're a horrible father, horrible husband. And it was just all this, and compounding that, you start to believe it. So I'm starting to relive every word my ex-wife called me a piece of shit. I'm reliving an email that my father had sent me that I read over and over and over again to where I memorized it, describing his son. And this is who I became. If you think I'm the monster, I'll be the monster. And I'll show you what that is. So that's it. Kind of worsened how I felt about everything. So going back, it's not like I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's I'm this now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're taking the identity of the thing that inherited you, essentially.
If everyone thinks that's what I am, then I'm going to show them.
Mm-hmm.
So
what did the girl do? Like, it seemed like you went into isolation immediately. So like this exchange happened, it didn't work.
Very awkward. It was very awkward. We had ate food a couple times. I didn't have anything to say to her, you know, like, and then once I found out she took a picture of me, that pissed me. I was like, you trying to set me up? Like that really pissed me off.
She's trying to cut the tie. Right.
I was like, yeah, like if you're trying to get in between what I got, this is going to be a huge fucking problem. So, it was a very awkward time. It was a lot. It was like, honestly more fighting than I had ever had in my marriage with this chick I didn't even know. Like arguing. Like it was.
What were you arguing about? Because like it seems like you did all this to meet up with her, and you're immediately sparking a bipolar chick, which you can't win. You can't win against the bipolar chick.
There was no winning because I got these problems too. I was like, I got 12 different people up here ready to go. All right, so I have no idea which one's coming out, which accent's gonna bring itself to the surface.
Yeah.
So it was just a hot fucking mess, and like her mom was getting involved, like
immediately her mom was getting involved.
I had been with her for 15 years, right? So it was just so fucking weird. I was like, how? Like, it was just that quick. Like, how am I here? Like, why is this what I'm going through right now? And it's just because I needed a change of scenery, and I fucking got it. I got that change up.
So coming back, you eventually did you scrounge money? Did somebody bail you out?
So I got a bus ticket.
A bus ticket.
Yeah.
So you took the bus back.
Took the bus back, dude. So these long ass.
This is like a fucking psychedelic, like voluntary trip on Tren.
It's so crazy. And the whole time, dude, I'm listening. I got my headphones in. The only songs I wanted to hear were like classic rock.
Okay, what were you like? What song specifically?
Like anything Creed, like it's like it made me think of my mom.
Creed.
It made me think of my mom, so it kind of made me feel at peace.
Okay,
because that's the music she listens to, and I was just like, I've never listened to that music. I like country, like it's weird. And I was like, I know every fucking word to these songs for some reason.
Yeah.
So just I mean, like about 24 hours to get there on bus, about 24 hours to get back. So I got time. And not talking to a single soul. It's a packed bus. Not getting off when we make stops. I'm just sitting there listening to my soft rock, crying randomly. I would just start bawling. Someone sitting right next to me, they would ask if I'm okay. And I said, mind your fucking business.
Right.
I'm going through something.
Right.
So just
beyond something.
Creed blaring in my ears and just bawling my eyes out, not knowing why at all.
Like during this bus ride, were you blank or were you making your theoretical, okay, when I come back, this is my explanation. This is like, what was...
Dude, an explanation for that's tough.
Right, right. What's the plan after?
It was kind of just like tuck my tail and be like, I'm an idiot.
Okay.
You know, so defame myself to them and hopefully they're like, yeah, you are a fucking idiot. Let's fix this. But it didn't turn out like that at all. So she started, this is where she started getting her shots back. She started, all right, you did this to me, here we go. So she had found a job at Lowe's before she joined the Air Force. And having cheated, it's like, you know how easy it can be. So every single thing she did, I was like, she's cheating on me. She's going to work. She's with someone. Well, it turns out
that's the trend talking as well.
Dude, I could make up a story completely out of nowhere about no one I don't even, like people I don't even know. I'm like, who the fuck do they think they are? And I'll run with it. And so like I would put that stuff in my head. And
what age were you during this?
24.
Okay, so there's 16-year-olds right now rocking like what this guy could be dealing with.
Right.
And you were a Marine that was structured.
I very structured.
And your structure fell apart.
Completely.
And you had hard programming.
Very much so.
So this is just for the teenagers thinking like, yeah, you can run Tren forever. I mean, like,
oh no, living with mom and dad.
You were an actual male. You're very structured. You had brothers around you, and you were still.
I had people to go to. I'm not in high school. you know, wondering what's for lunch tomorrow.
Well, I mean, they're in their
right?
primary development ages. Like, you were structured Marine.
Yeah.
Like, you answered to people, and you had to talk a certain way. You had to act a certain way. You had to make your bet. Like, these kids are altering their brain chemistry with none of that.
No, they're TikTok dancing, and then they're taking Tren.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't know who you are at all.
Right.
I would say at least a little bit by that time, just because of everything that I had went through. I kind of had a good grasp on who I am as a man. It's not until that I started taking everything where I lost that all. I just completely turned tail and went a different way. So a saying in the Marine Corps is Semper Fi. It's always faithful.
Right.
Nothing I lived was faithful. I was faithful to stabbing myself, being a pincushion, and lifting weights. And mind you, I had no goal with this. I didn't want to be a bodybuilder. I didn't want to compete. I thought I should look a certain way. I got attention from it, and that's what I ran with.
And you got vanity female attention.
Yeah.
You didn't get like dynamic
No.
or, you know, intrinsic, you know,
Right.
combination.
It was
While
just
your wife had the intrinsic combination, but you're after the
Right.
short-term vanity.
something new, something quick.
So you came back. It seemed like the ex-wife is finally drawing the lines.
Yeah, she basically put her foot down at that point. I didn't see it, but looking back at it now, she was strategically planning, how do I get my life without him now?
Yeah.
So she had got a job at Lowe's. I was banned from this Lowe's now because I kept showing up. I had found out she was going to get drinks for lunch with some dude. I saw a video of her at a bar with this dude saying she loves him, and I was going to find him. So I went into Lowe's and I just tore it the fuck apart. I wanted to find this kid.
Describe that scene. Because that's an authentic Tren rage right there.
Very much so. So we were doing, it was a Sunday. We were doing laundry. We had to go to a laundromat. And I saw her phone sitting there. And I was like, let me look at it. And I saw all this shit. I walked 1.5 miles from this laundromat to Lowe's. And mind you,
1.5 miles.
1.5 miles. I mean, the only clothes I ever wore were tore up. I sweater, I'd cut the sleeves, ripped chest out, everything. Like I looked like a bum that could kill you.
Yeah,
right.
The Tren rat.
Exactly.
The Tren rat.
Didn't care what the fuck I looked like.
Yeah.
Because when I take this off, it's going to be something, right?
Right.
I go into Lowe's. I'm grabbing every manager there is. Where the fuck, I can remember his name. Where's Josh? We don't know Josh. And then they just kept fucking lying to me. So I'm grabbing shit and I'm throwing it. And I want you to feel how angry I am.
Okay, so you're like breaking shit.
I completely.
Okay.
I'm raging. And he wasn't working that day. So who knows what that would have been like if he was, because I know what it feels like. Traffic was one of my biggest triggers. I would follow you 45 minutes out of my way. Right. So, and it was just for me to get out what I was feeling. Because if I couldn't, I would be talking about you, some stranger, for 2 weeks. Be sitting down eating cereal, like, who the fuck does that guy think he is? He flipped me off, cutting me off. And I did crazy. So I don't know what would have happened.
Do you think when your ex picked that individual, Josh, that she was obviously wedging Josh against you? Like, do you think Josh knew he was dealing with a Tren demon on him?
I don't think, because even to this day, her boyfriend doesn't even know who I am. So who she knew then is who she portrays to everybody now. So I don't even think that he knew I was a thing. I think maybe he knew she was married, but he would have had no clue of what the consequence was. So I think,
so she didn't go to like another, knight in shining armor.
No, she went completely opposite, like a little scrawny.
Yeah.
It's like
try to get you to
exactly.
pacify away. Got you.
Yeah, they go the complete opposite route of what they had, right? So it's just something comfortable and safe. So there was that whole situation.
Was she aware that you went in Lowe's and broke shit?
Because we were doing laundry together, and I walked away, and I just disappeared. So because they had called her.
There was no police altercation with you breaking shit. You got okay.
No, they just wanted me out.
Got you.
So after that, my trust issues, which sounds retarded, is why do I have trust issues with you? I'm the one that fucked up. But it's like I said, you could see how easy it is to do it. So why wouldn't she do it to me?
Right.
So I'm living with that this whole time. There was a point in time where I convinced her to co-sign on a motorcycle for me.
What kind of bike?
I had a 636. It was
Okay.
a brand new
Ninja.
2018.
Yeah. Love those.
But I had gotten hit, and everyone thought I tried to do that to kill myself. So
How bad were you? What was the accident like?
I couldn't walk. So we were side by side. This old man turned into me. I flipped over the bike, cracked my helmet off my head. He ran over my arm. I was in a tank top and jeans and just covered in road rash. This whole tattoo actually was completely rubbed away, and it came back. But I couldn't
So
walk.
you're squid, no gear.
No gear.
Dress for the slide, not the ride.
I'll tell you
Dress for the slide, not the ride.
I was at work detailing cars when I got hit, and I was going for lunch. It was a mile away to Subway, and I was contemplating the helmet. And if I didn't, the first thing that hit was my head. I would have been gone. That would have been it. But they had thought I did that to try to kill myself, and she was spreading this rumor. And what bugged me the most is like, this is my hometown. I brought you here, and you're spreading shit about me. So everyone thinks I'm crazy. Everyone thinks I'm about to kill myself. Little did they know that's coming. Not yet. I wouldn't want to do it on a bike ride. I love riding bikes. I'm not going to kill myself on it. So I had started, I couldn't even walk at this point. And this was probably one of the worst rages. I was cussing out my dad. I was cussing out my ex-wife. I was hobbling on crutches to the car, pushing everyone away from me. That's when that night I got admitted to the psych ward. That drive, she took it with me. My dad took it with me. No one was talking to me. And then
Did you know you're going to the psych ward, or they kind of pop it on you?
we showed up.
Okay.
It was probably the best time to do it because I really couldn't do much. I couldn't walk. The road rash was fucking horrible.
Yeah. How many skin grafts was that?
Dude, it was, this whole side was gone. My back, legs, knees, everything.
I wear full gear,
Yeah.
man. I have too many friends that like.
Even to this day, after being at I like to feel the wind. Dude, it's like
I have a guy exactly like, I like to feel it in my, I'm like, okay, man.
It's crazy.
I know exactly that argument, and it's crazy that you squids do that.
It's very wild. And I actually just got another motorcycle and I ride it the same way.
Okay, what kind of?
A V-Rod.
Okay.
So I'm going towards like the old man
That's
Harley
the
stuff.
the big V-Rod.
Yeah.
Okay. So in a parking lot, you can't turn, guys.
Exactly. So yeah, they thought I was going to kill myself. I'm sitting in this hospital bed in the psych ward, and I'm listening to my father describe me to this doctor, and it's just pissing me off. I'm like, who are you talking? I'm your son. Like, why are you saying this shit about me? Taking my shoelaces, drawstring from my pants.
And you still had Tren in your ass.
Yeah, I was still fully on it.
Okay.
Because I was still taking it as I was laid up. I was laid up for about a month. And I was still taking it because I didn't want to lose it.
Did anyone try, like, nobody just try to steal this gear away?
My dad has thrown it away several times.
Got you.
Yeah, he had took it, he had put it in the trunk of his car, hid it, locked it up. And
Your dad's a saint, man.
No, he was really trying. And honestly, he's a hard ass. He's lived up my ass my entire life. He is not an emotional man, doesn't cry, doesn't do. But there was a point in time where he thought he lost me. I'm the youngest of four. I was his best friend. Everything that he did, I wanted to do. He was a Marine. I was a Marine. I wanted to be as big as him, as strong as him. I wanted to be just like him. And I took this path that took his little boy away. And that was a time where, only told this by my mom, is that he had opened up and he had lost his little boy. So hearing him describe me as what he sees was blowing my mind. And I couldn't see it. So I'm sitting in this hospital bed. I get admitted, and now I'm sitting. Dude, I'm a fucking sight. I'm in a wheelchair because I can't walk. I look like a Vietnam vet. It's fucking crazy hospital. They wheel me up to these windows, drugged out, not knowing what the fuck's going on. So I just tell them to just keep me in my bed. I don't want to come out of it. There's a bunch of meetings I have to go to. I didn't want to be a part of them because in my mind, I'm not an addict like these people. They're getting high. They're doing all this fucking crazy shit. I just want muscles. That's it. But not realizing what it's doing.
Yeah.
So like you figure all this road rash, sheets are fusing to my skin. Got to re-peel these sheets off every morning. Every time I move, it's ripping open. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, dude. Uncomfortable is a understatement
Very
on
much
that
an
much road
understatement.
rash. I mean, that's
Just seeing what the life is like. I mean, brushing your teeth with a rubber toothbrush and trying to figure that shit out. And I couldn't even keep a solo cup because apparently someone can figure out how to kill themselves with it.
really.
I'm like, I'm not even smart enough to figure this shit out, dude. I was like, I know how I want to do it. I'll make it happen if I want to. So this whole time I'm convincing.
How long were you in there? And how was linear time? Like, how was the experience?
Honestly, I actually have a contact on my phone from the crazy hospital. I wish I never would have given him my number because he hits me up all the time. It's called 4CB. That's the psycho ward.
Okay.
And he's like, 4CB for life. He's like praising. I was like, dude, no. I was like, you give me a fucking hot feeling every time you say this to me.
No, I'm sure that dude chew up a bit.
All the time. So I'd actually made like a couple of good friends because it's the military, it's the VA. I'm used to these people.
Yeah.
I'm used to the crazy, but they made me realize I'm not crazy.
Right.
That old Cat Williams joke is like, until you've tried to break up a fight with a motherfucker in himself, you don't know what crazy is. Like these people are like that because these are people that have dealt with their friends got blown up in front of them, or they were told to do something that was morally wrong and they had to execute it. Right. So they had some problems. But it wasn't until like being heckled by crazy people, right? So I sit in this class and everyone's saying, hey, my name is such and such. This is what's going on. And I say, my name's Vinnie. I abuse steroids. And they're like, oh, no shit. You know, just getting heckled by these people.
Yeah. They're like, really? Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is bullshit. I'm never talking again. I'm just going to sit there. I'm just going to ride this out. So my whole goal every single day, my plan was to call my ex-wife and my dad on this payphone and convince them that I'm okay. Nothing's wrong. I'm perfectly fine. They fixed me. I'm lying about classes that I'm taking. I'm lying about all of it just so that they can be comfortable enough for me to come home. Because I knew that once I got home, the problem was going to be over. I had it all planned out. My daughter's life would be better. My ex-wife would be free of it. My parents would have to stop worrying about their son and wipe the slate clean. So I convinced them to get me out. My dad and mom came and picked me up.
What was that event like?
Getting out?
Yeah. What was the day of like release of that?
It was probably one of the worst parts of it because it was while my dad's a supportive man, he is not the best person to comfort you. Yeah. So as I'm getting out, he's still pushing on to me all the shit that I fucked up.
He's reprogramming like, hey,
it's
like this ain't a free ride. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's telling me she's never gonna accept you. She's never gonna want you. Your family's gone. This is all I'm hearing. So I'm playing along. Day to day, I'm just kind of going through it. I'm starting to be able to walk again. I get back into the gym. And I go to buy a pistol. It's crazy that they would. So when you're 302, that doesn't go on your record.
That's crazy. What kind of pistol was it?
So a Ruger Security 9. So I went and bought that. And
how did your mind tilt because you made it that far?
It was. I was actually completely shut off at this point.
Okay.
There was nothing. This is the last thing that I can do to make sure my daughter's okay. My marriage is done. But my daughter will be fine. So I got this pistol. I went and shot it a few times. Went to a couple ranges. And ex-wife is at work. I think my daughter was with my parents. And I'm sitting by a river. Honestly, I don't even know what I was thinking about at the time. I think just kind of relief. Yeah. Like it's about to be done. Yeah. Because this rage.
It's the calm at the deep end.
Exactly.
You're looking at the deep end and you're like, I'm here.
Yeah. It's like I reached it. It's done now. That rage that I was feeling, I would say 95% of my day was feeling that every single day. Every little thing was triggering me. Even my cute little daughter, I couldn't even play with her. So what's the point? So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. There's one in the chamber. And just a simple call. My daughter's telling me she loves me.
So a quantum event, the call saved you.
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
So I figured if she can love me, and I mean the most purest kind of love there is, the most innocent, no matter what I've done.
How did she call you?
She was probably about 2.5 years old at the time. She was always on my parents' phone, that my parents would have her call me just so I can look at her. And she was always worried about me, even from a litlittle girl. There's a video I have.
So she could tell.
I think she's
spiritually something was going on.
Well beyond what her age is. Because there's a video I got of me leaving on my motorcycle after I've been hit. Everything's fixed up and I'm going for a ride. And all she's saying is, "Be careful, don't fall. I love you." That's it. And getting that call, I figure if she can, all she knows, I'm her dad. That's
right.
It. I'm not what her mom thinks I am. I'm not anything else. I am.
That's your blood.
Yes.
That's your blood.
We are one and the same person. So if I can live the rest of my life showing her what a good dad is, how a man should treat her, and doing all that through relationships and showing her what this looks like. If she ever met the man that I was, I would slit his throat. You created what your daughter exactly
would never want to be around.
And if that's all she saw, if that's all I gave her, that's what she would go after. She would be chasing that person. That's all she knows. So either ending it and getting out of her life for good, or changing it. And that call, sitting there with that gun in my hand, changed it. I didn't want to die. I don't think anybody that tries to commit suicide wants to die. You just feel that's the end of the road. That's
you're looking at the abyss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Sometimes you gotta go to the abyss and have a good glance.
And rock bottom I've restarted several times from the time I got out of the Marine Corps to today. There's been several restarts. There's been a bunch of shit that had went on. Another dark moment. So in her process of joining the Air Force, she was convincing me that, hey, this is going to work. We're going to make this work. So from 2018 of October to 2019 of April, I was being fake loved by my ex-wife. I was often told that I don't deserve to look at her. I don't deserve to lay hands on her. So that's kind of weighing on me. And I start to become... And mind you, I no longer have a source for steroids. So from 2018 to about 2021, I was empty. I had become type 2 diabetic because I'm still eating like I'm training.
Right. So, the androgens aren't there as the furnace, and you're still trying to...
So this is like the opposite end of being amped up on Tren and being angry versus being completely emotional because you have nothing in you. My test is shut off. Estrogen's probably crazy. I could be driving down the road and start bawling my eyes out to a song and not understanding what the fuck's going on. So trying to fix my marriage, doing everything I can, was all for nothing because her plan was to get rid of me. So how she did that, I was basically a stay-at-home dad at the time. I'm potty training my daughter and these cops show up, and she had told them that I was beating her and my daughter.
Wow. So she took that amount of karmic lie. Wow. I try explaining the only person ever in danger was me. I couldn't even tell my daughter no. But she had painted this picture of me, of a monster. He's going to fight. He's aggressive. He's going to cause problems. So I had 6 cops, 2 dogs. 2 dogs.
2 dogs. They walk in my house.
What an event.
They take my daughter off the potty and they walk her past me, and I go to hug her and they say, if you touch her, we're going to put the dogs on you. And this is where that old me comes out, is I will kill your fucking dog. So I'm telling them this, and it's looking worse for me because I have no idea what's going on yet. I don't know what she had said until probably a week later when I'm kicked off base. I'm living in a hotel. And I'm talking to her higher ups about what she had told them. So I finally get to be able to hug my daughter goodbye, not knowing where she's going. Turns out they went to a domestic violence shelter. Now, the worst part was watching my ex-wife see me detained by these cops, not look at me, not say a word to me, walk straight in the house, grab a few things, and leave. I saw how cold she is now.
You saw the mask off.
It was complete.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
I see it now.
Yeah.
The biggest kick in the ass was I was doing everything a man should do that has fucked up, understanding that and accepting it.
Yeah, you feel like you rightfuled yourself,
Yes.
and then karma came back around for no reason, but she's
Exactly.
dumping back karma on her tables to
Right.
get it. Yeah.
So I'm doing everything that I can, because the last thing my dad had told me before I went to North Dakota, where she got stationed, was if at the end of this it doesn't work out, if you can say to yourself that you did everything you can, then you can walk away a happy man. And that's all I was trying to do. If this didn't work out, it didn't work out, but we tried. So it turns out I was the only one trying. And this is how crazy that day went, is before she left, she gave me a kiss goodbye, said, "I love you." Didn't hear from her until cops showed up at the house. She was making up lies. She got to go take a drug test, all this, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to keep me there.
That's intense as fuck.
So I was, once I found out what I was defending myself against, I was sick to my stomach. I was like, they think I hit this little girl. I have to go into this court looking the way I look, a complete jackass looking how I look, saying, no, I don't hit my daughter. And turns out it all kind of went in my favor. I had to spend, the first lawyer I went to even get words out of her mouth, I had to give her $7,500. So that's where that started. I started opening up credit cards.
How'd the lawyer react to?
She was.
Did they believe you? Did it take convincing? Because you're going into a court that is swayed towards the woman,
Right.
with the daughter. So you're in the United States. For my international views, you're already at a losing battle, and you're already digging yourself out of a hole when a woman is making claims against you.
You're basically starting with a broken shovel.
Yeah.
So I think what helped me a lot was my lawyer was a female. So I kind of had that on my side. Like if I can show her that I'm not this person, maybe she can portray it. But I had so much stuff from the past year that we had been together, thinking we're working on this.
And she picked on you in a financially low situation,
Exactly.
as well as you're the stay-at-home dad.
Exactly.
So
I
in
had
your
no
weakest part, she put the clause in.
Right. So like when I tell you it had to have been a plan. I'll never get that out of her, but she played dumb. She's brilliant because she's still doing this stuff to me.
Really? Okay.
So about 20 grand in total I'm paying for this lawyer to prove that I've never hit my daughter. Court lasts about 30 minutes. They know for a fact. They were pissed off that she even brought my daughter into it. They were pissed off at the picture she tried sending in of bruises on her arms and stuff.
What was her reaction on the courtroom floor when it's all falling apart after the emotional infliction, after you tried to right your wrongs, and at the end of the day, you're a stay-at-home dad?
She couldn't even recall anything that she was trying to accuse me of. What she can recall is me yelling. There have been times where I have been yelling and screaming, and I can see how that would be scary. But to lay hands on you, I physically couldn't do it. So I'm 30 minutes, I'm innocent. So the judge says, hey, you guys need to plan out a way he can see his daughter. So little bits here and there while I'm still out there in North Dakota. I still have a PFA against me, and I call her. And I said, listen, you can put me in jail right now for going against this. Give me 3 months. If you don't want me in 3 months, I'll pack my bags and I will leave. I don't know what made her do that. I had everything set. I had lawyers in Pennsylvania. I had lawyers in North Dakota. I would have had my daughter. I would have had full custody, and I would have been perfectly set. I would have got alimony from her, child support from her, because she was the supporter. But I didn't care about any of it. I wanted my family to work. So even after all this shit,
you're still picking her.
Yeah,
You were still,
exactly. So
you want the daughter to have the authentic.
But that was also in great, like all my dad kept, he's like, you don't want a divided household. You don't want anyone else raising your kid. So it's like, all right, I got to fucking fix this. I got to figure it out. So I say, give me 3 months.
The Marine fixes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when someone comes to you with a problem, sometimes they just want you to listen. They don't want you to fix it, right? I need to fix it.
Right.
I need to figure out how.
I know that exact thing.
So 3 months to the day that she lets me back in the house, I'm in the gym. This is my place to be. This is where I'm at peace.
The house of pain where you get
exactly.
it out. Yep.
I get served divorce papers in the gym while I'm lifting. I was like,
she's ruthless.
I was like, motherfucker. I was like, you're taking away everything that I love.
Jeez, oh man, you're gonna have a trauma response when you go to the gym.
Crazy. Woo. I'm walking. It's like, who's trying to sue me today? Like, this is crazy,
dude. That's intense.
So I get served those, and I call her. I was like, I just got served some papers. What's going on? She goes, you said 3 months to the day, right? I said, yeah. I guess it's time's up. So now I'm trying to figure out
a fucking stopwatch.
Oh, dude, it was. And that I have no idea is clicking down. If I could, my dad would give me calls. He's like, "Hey, how's everything?"
Yeah, were
going?
you in like open communication of like, "Am I doing good?"
Everything.
She's masked the whole time.
The entire time. And when I'm like, this has fucked me up for quite a while.
I mean, this is a great learning experience. Yeah.
I mean, to be fake loved to that point, to where you think everything's okay, and then it's gone. So that kind of ruined me for really like trusting someone. It was really hard to be able to trust someone again. So that was, I mean, I'm telling my dad, I was like, oh, it's the best it's ever been. We're going to do all this stuff as a family. Like everything's amazing. She's happy. I'm happy. And then I was like smacked in the face for the second time. One, you said I was beating you guys. Now, all right, here's the divorce. And, so I gave her everything, every bit of furniture.
When you theoretically could have won the battle in
I could have
court.
won everything. I gave her everything. This was all punishment in my eyes. This is, you fucked up, take it now. So I gave her everything. I took my truck, my motorcycle, and I wasn't leaving without my daughter. There was no way you could have got me out of that state without her. I'm taking her home. So we pack up. I drive back with her. And during the drive back, she's already at other people's houses, partying, having a good time, and that's just really fucking with me. I was like, I really was nothing.
Yeah, she's bending all sorts of emotions.
Exactly.
Do you feel like she didn't want to be a mother? Like, did you feel like that sort of situation where like she felt robbed of her dopamine if she's partying right after, or did she want to spite you? Like, where do you feel like?
I honestly, so. She is a great mom to her daughter. When my daughter was a baby, she was even better. When she graduated boot camp, she seemed a little bit more hands off. As my daughter got older, it's kind of like, I don't know if she's like a reminder to her of me or what is it, but I think I fucked her up. It was my fault. There was nothing that had happened that I didn't deserve. Maybe not the beating of my child. You know, the lies and stuff like that. I mean,
dude, that's like straight up like vicious lies. I don't think you like, especially when you self-admittedly like were battling an issue where your father is coming in trying to reprogram you. I feel like that's on you and your father, not.
Yeah.
If the father's intervening, there's obviously awareness of an issue.
I will say there was not one point in time where I put the blame on anyone else. I knew that I'm here because of me. Even to this day. This is why I'm so open to talk about it, because there's nothing to hide. This was all caused because I lost my way. My brain chemical was fucked up. And that was even my choice. So I can't even blame Tren. I chose to take it. I chose to take how much I was taking. I chose the source to get it from. And I chose to not come off. And this is what happened from it. Now, with every bad thing that I have talked about, I don't regret a single one of them. I'm here now.
Your ability to spit this on camera this good, I mean, you're definitely content with yourself as a male.
Very much so.
Very content.
I have found my way to the person I know who I am, who I can be to someone, how I can treat somebody. And I know that I wouldn't have any of it if I didn't make that left turn to that girl's house. That's where it starts.
It can't get worse.
It can't.
Correct.
So
You got the daughter. How'd that go?
So
was she fighting for the daughter? Or is she more like
she
out of
agreed
there?
to let me take her. So this was at a point, so I'm completely broke. I have all this debt now from that last court case. So I couldn't even get a custody lawyer. So I had to kind of write our custody orders that she was getting from her lawyer to best suit me as possible, as best as I can. So I wrote off any future boyfriend she might have. I wrote off any future husband she might have. I am her father. Nobody can do anything to dictate my daughter's life but her and me. So I was making sure I was getting that. I was making sure that I get as much time as possible. So we was doing a 3-month on, 3-month off type deal. So from 2019 to about 2022 of October, it had really just been me and my daughter because she had deployed during that time. I had her for most of 2019, most of 2021. And this is where the custody battle started coming in. She came back and I only got to see my daughter in summer times now. So 2.5 months maybe I would get to see my daughter out of a year. And
this gotta be the worst pain. I can't imagine that.
She saved my life.
Especially, yeah.
So,
with what you said, dude, that's very insane.
She saved me, and now I can't even be around her. So I got to a point, I had sold my house in North Carolina. I had got her to sign a quick claim deed thinking, hey, this is just refinancing, just so I can get all of the money. And she signed it, and I got all the money from it, and I paid for a lawyer. This lawyer ended up just stealing $5,000 from me. He quit 3 days before trial.
I actually had a lawyer also steal $5,000.
Very crazy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they were in cahoots. My daughter in the court's eyes doesn't matter. Me and my ex-wife don't matter. They're lining their pockets.
Right.
So it's almost like her lawyer and my lawyer were talking because 3 days before I flew to Texas to fight for my child, he quit.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
I know exactly. Yeah.
So I went down there and I spoke for myself. And again, it's that picture of a monster, right? So that she's still portraying that. Why I don't deserve my kid, why I shouldn't have all this time, why she's better off with the mother. And I'm just hearing all that.
Do you think it's because like she deployed in that lifestyle of being drawn into stringentness and then coming back?
I really don't. Her job's a little different. She works at a desk. So when she deploys, she's just not in America, right? So it's a little bit different. But my daughter is the last way that she can hurt me, in my opinion.
When do you think she would get her fill of curb stomping you?
Me being completely out of the picture, because if you saw my court orders, my custody orders now, how she got them, I get 42 days. I have to write her a letter saying that, hey, I want my daughter. If I don't write the letter, I don't get her. I'm thankful now because she deploys again and I get her in December for the rest of the school year and my portion of the summer. So this is by the grace of God, I got this extra time. But I'll tell you, the hardest thing ever, I don't care, she can try to hurt me as much as she wants. The only person being hurt is Athena, my daughter. And giving her back at the airport, having her cling on to me, beg me to stay, beg her not to go, grabbing my beard, bawling her eyes out. That breaks me every single time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what the story you just told.
And it's almost like her mom is feeding off that.
Yeah. Because
when she leaves her mom, it's a one-arm hug. See you later. I'm going with dad. But when it's leaving me, it's traumatizing. And then I'm left to sit in this airport with a bunch of people surrounding me. I can't cry. You can't see me cry until I get into my truck and I want to rip the steering wheel off. And I would just, that rage comes back. That anger is one emotion that I can completely understand because you know exactly what's going on. It's a true emotion. Yeah, it's very true because it's exactly how you feel. I don't understand crying because any time that I've cried has been when I'm fucked up and it just hits me out of nowhere. So I'm like, where did that come from? So that's something that even to this day that I have to deal with. And if you ask me about Tren, was that the right time to take it? No. Would I touch it again? In a smarter way? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So the correct dose in the right state of mind.
200's a lot.
It is.
I have a lot of guys in the a competitive bodybuilding scene, a lot of guys only use 75 a week, just like a little microdose.
You really don't need
little crispy microdose.
And here's what I learned from even being on TRT is that a little bit goes a long way. You're limited to how much you can take because that's how much is coming. But just on a TRT dose, my levels sit at 1890. Who can complain about that? But like to me, at first that felt average because I was like up at 3,000.
Right.
I was like, I could eat a brick. I was like, I feel like what an optimal male feels like at that point.
How'd the court go down in Texas?
Oh, bad. So I was defending myself against a lawyer. I'm a meathead. I'm an idiot. There's no. I was objecting to shit that you can't even object to.
Yeah. No.
I was like, I saw this on Law and Order or something, dude. I was like, I got this.
There's a reason why they got that bar test.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm listening to him make these rules, and I feel myself getting emotional. And I was the shit that they're taking away from me, the shit that they're changing. And her family is sitting right behind me. I got no one here. I'm in Texas. I'm alone. Her family's sitting there laughing at me as all this shit's happening. And as I walk out of the courtroom, they're standing there right at the door, making sure I can hear everything that they're saying. So it's a real, like an intimidation factor. I'm in a place where I don't know. I'm in the city of San Antonio. Never been here before, fighting for my kid. First day I go to court, they put a boot on the rental that I got. I was like, this is the worst fucking time of my life. Oh, so it was just a horrible
I commend you
experience.
for your positive, like.
It was a horrible experience.
Yeah.
But also on the same note, silver lining is, okay, well, I'm down in Texas. I get to see my daughter for a little bit here and there. So I like get to do some stuff with her, take her to museums and stuff like that. So just trying to keep that, even after I lost, where I know I have fixed a lot of shit about myself, is I was able to keep it together for her. I'm not dwelling on all the shit that they just took away from me. Like if she knew that you're not going to see daddy a lot now, it's very limited now. But being able to keep that together, I've learned a lot about myself and anger and when to use it and when not to use it. Exactly.
Yeah.
I can kind of use it to my advantage rather than it using me.
It's just kind of crazy. She rolls with the same story and you're there like, am I not allowed to make mistakes? Right. Am I not allowed to be an actual man? Am I not allowed to, like, every actual man has aggression, isn't that defensive protection? And it went off the rails, but I realigned. But here we are with the same Sally Saab story.
Well, you got to think that's the only person she knew, right? So for the longest time, I got married when I was 20 years old. I started with testosterone and all that stuff. So she saw me go from little to big. She saw my mind go from young, dumb kid to insane male. Yeah. And that's the last dose she got of me was that person. So it's to this point to where, like, when we exchange my daughter, she looks at the ground. She doesn't look at me. And it's crazy to me because here's this little girl that makes me look like a bitch in public, right? My daughter, she, like, how can this little girl feel so safe with me?
The teddy bear.
Exactly. Yeah. But you, an adult woman, it's been how long has it been? 2017 is when it all started. 8 years? And I'm still living under that shadow of that asshole. And it's just, all it's going to do is progress and get worse for my daughter, because if mom and dad can't even get along, what's it look like for me, where she has to walk on eggshells when she's around mom, around dad, watch what she says. We should at least be able to be cordial. I understand what I did. I understand that I fucked up. I know where it brought me to, and I know that it almost ended me. So there has to be a point of grace to where we are never going to be a thing. I don't want you. You don't want me. Go be happy. I want nothing.
It's like hurting her by clinging on to sucking on you.
She's going to stay there. I can only imagine how it would affect future relationships, because, like I said, she's going for total opposite people of me. Like when you see these people,
I don't need a man.
Exactly. He's like, I'll be the man now, right? I got this. So it's very different. But I can honestly say, I wish her, she's still hurting me. I wish her the best.
Yeah.
I want her to do and have everything that she's ever wanted. If I could, I would make sure that her and my daughter were financially stable for the rest of their life. I fucked it up. I brought her to that point. She married me. She had a kid with me, and I destroyed it. The least I could do is make sure both of them are okay.
And you self-admitted on a camera.
Exactly.
To thousands of people.
Exactly.
I hope she sees that you're like, you're not here defending yourself. This is point blank how it went.
No, I was a complete monster. I was an asshole, and I could admit that. But who I am now, completely different.
When you came off the high dosages, like how did that go? And then when did you notice the brain rewire? Because I was significant neurochemistry damage. Tren passes through the blood-brain barrier, and you're just like, you're just like short-circuiting your brain.
It wasn't even a taper off. It was a cut. It was complete. It was 1 day is done. So that was, I feel like that emotionally and mentally was more draining than being on. Because now you're seeing the downside of, I don't feel the same way. I'm not Superman anymore. I'm not as strong. Everything's starting to go away a little bit.
You're still a big dog, man.
And you're right. So, but like at that point I was on nothing. This is TRT Vinnie, right? So I can kind of maintain a little bit. But before, to be able to take that much Tren, house 4 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, go train and look like a fucking animal. I'm doing that, not being on anything, because I thought that's what was making me strong, was all this food. Now I'm diabetic.
Yeah.
Now I'm like putting fat on like I've never have before. So that was more emotionally draining, was watching. I mean, we all have that dysmorphia, and now it's amplified times 10 because.
And me and you are both a little guy forever.
I will
we're both
never,
a little guy.
Even standing next to her, I could tell you, I feel like I'm that small dude. Right?
I feel the same way. Yeah, I'm always a long distance runner.
That's how it's always gonna be.
Yeah.
My dad always called me a peanut. I'm that peanut, right? So just the small kid. So I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it's amplified once you're not taking anything anymore, because that placebo effect of, I just injected today, I'm going to be jacked. It's gone. I have nothing to even get me a pump, nothing, no motivation. My drive is gone. I'm losing my family. I'm like, dude, this is fucking horrible. So I went through the whole long process of trying to get on TRT. I started with the VA. They were just beating me around the bush. They wanted to give me cream.
Yeah. There's actually all these laws are changing rapidly, and I'm invested into one, and we had to take off market, and like they're trying to do all this litigation. So like everyone is.
And what do you think that's about?
Oh, they want to control profits. They like, I could have taken the easy route and went through a doctor network,
right,
where I'm talking to their doctors that will only give you.
So like a hormone clinic type deal.
I wouldn't even think about that. I'm thinking of like they want to police all the clinics, so you could subsidize to them, or you could get licensed in every single state. Okay. And you're jumping through hoops. For example, I've been jumping through hoops with California for a year and a half. Or I could just sign the doctor network, and you not get what you want, just like you want a TRT. They're like, oh, right. They look in the book like, I can't get sued if I give you that. If I give you the cream, buddy. Well, I was on Tren for this long, and I need TRT. Well, I mean, this book, man. I just follow the book, or I get my license removed. You know, that's kind of what's going on with that.
Yeah. So like cream for me would have done nothing. And also my age played a factor in getting TRT. When I tried to get on it, I was like 26 or 27. And I was just too young. They couldn't believe that. And what they would do, there was 2 clinics that went and looked at my social media, and they thought I was just looking for drugs. Because I still look like I'm on
you
shit.
look like the gym boy, yeah.
So that's what they thought. But I was like, you have no idea. I was like, I wake up every morning wanting to kill myself. Like I have nothing in me.
Yeah.
But you
can't tell them like, I was on Tren and my level was here, and now it's here, and I just want to be here, and the cream puts me here.
Yeah. I was like, what? And I give my daughter a hug. Now she has test cream on her. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah.
What is that, like 10% absorption?
If that.
Yeah.
If you put on your forearm and don't touch your forearm
all day long.
Yeah, all day. Yeah, you're like that the whole day. Maybe.
So it was just ridiculous, and I felt like I was being beat around the bush. So once I finally found a clinic, it was called Androgenics. They were out of Florida. I started with them, and now I'm with MedTech Pharma. They're a Pittsburgh-based company, and they treat me really good. The price is great. But what I found that what I can do off just this little bit of testosterone, maybe pepper in some extra stuff here and there.
Yeah.
It's pretty astonishing.
And you have your baseline of the Tren abuse.
Exactly.
Like your body doesn't forget what it was.
Right.
It just needs the androgen level.
That's what, like, starting at the age I was pretty young, but I have been lifting weights since I started at 12. I got serious at 15, and that was my whole entire life. I was laughed at. I was a joke because that's all I liked. These same people are messaging me now, fat, out of shape, and they want to figure out how I did it.
Yeah, that's like me. I was the exerciseaholic as well.
So
know,
it's
as you age and you see that you age gracefully and they're a potato chip, you know, then they come over to you.
It's pretty comical because not like I got my store and they're all, what do I need to take to do this? I was like, you need to rewind the clock 15 years and you need to do this every fucking day.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that.
No,
they don't want to hear that
because it's a lot of fucking
They
work.
want the pill.
They want the pill. They want that Tren. They'll ask and joke like, yeah, you got.
Even if they do Tren, their central nervous system wasn't tuned like yours.
I would say 90% of the people you go and see at the gym are on test and Tren. Do they look like it? No, I can smell it on you. When you're sweating, I can smell it.
I can smell it as well.
It's a PTSD. I know what you're on.
It fucks with your pheromones.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And they don't look.
If you go to Powerhouse Pittsburgh, which is supposed to be full of like the big juice heads where I feel small.
Right.
It's now the broccoli haired kids that are copying the TikTok cycles. And they look at me and they probably think I'm on a shit ton of stuff. And when I go on YouTube, I'm like, I haven't even made up my cycle yet. I'm slowly getting up there. They're like, he's using grams.
Yeah.
I've never used grams. Never.
I've had people make on my business. Like I had given out samples of pre-workout saying how I'm just a roided out snake oil salesman selling pre-workout and all this. I was like, listen.
After this video, they can't say fucking shit.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I practice what I preach. Every single supplement in my store, it goes through my system. I'm still that jackass. I'm going to take it. You tell me it makes me strong, give it to me. I'm still going to have that in me. That's never going to go away. But what I can do now from learning and not wanting to feel the way that I did is I don't need 800 milligrams.
They're just projecting that they want to be you and you did that work.
Right.
And they're later in their life and they feel like they can't do that work when that's bullshit. I've seen insane transformations.
Yeah, very much.
Me, so
I mean, you look at someone like Sam Sulek, 21 years old, and that's what dude, this isn't good. I mean, we got bodybuilders dying at 30 years old, and that was actually kind of an eye opener for me. These guys are my age. Did I fuck myself up that bad? And so I learned a lot about myself. I had to go through all of that. I had to want to kill myself. I had to think I was nothing. I had to live on rock bottom, and I had to not want to be here anymore to figure out who I am today.
Yeah, and you have the armor now.
Yeah.
Like you wear armor.
Exactly.
Like I'm sure anything said, you're like, if only you knew, buddy. Go watch this video.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it gets any more real and authentic than that. I mean, Tren is notorious for modifying brain chemistry. It passes through the blood-brain barrier, and when it's in the brain, it starts short-circuit and shit, essentially. So I just, Vinny's pretty... Can you find another story like that where it's that honest of him? I'm having a problem. He self-admitted it multiple times. He had his family come in, the ex-wife, multiple girls prying him around. He wasn't at the steering wheel fully. He admits it. He was a Marine, a stringent Marine that had a backing of a schedule, who answered it and took orders. If you're on Tren in high school, when you're developing at 15, 16, there's guys getting famous for going on TikTok. I'm doing Tren at 15.
Right.
How do you know who you are? How do you know who you are? He was a Marine. Like, you don't understand boot camp. I'm not a Marine, but he grew up in a brotherhood where brothers were keeping him in check. You're a high schooler. Why do you need Tren? Okay? I doubt you need Tren unless you're going to do the full competitive bodybuilding thing, which is a beauty pageant, which is subjective, which most people, like, I know when a dude has pretty muscles. Right. I'll be like, you have pretty muscles. You should do the beauty pageant thing.
There you go.
I don't have pretty muscles. I just like being a weapon like you do. I don't really need to abuse Tren. And Tren at the highest level is microdosed. 75 milligrams a week is not, unheard of with the top pros.
Right.
When you tell me 800, If we didn't sell that story, oh, he's big, I'm gonna do 1,000. You know, like this has to stop. There's a big TikTok guru following. They don't come on YouTube like me. They do it on TikTok, where they're like making it normal. Like, you need 2.3 grams.
Right.
They don't look half the size of you. They're like 190 pounds.
Right.
Their central nervous system's not adapted. It's just like being vibrated to death. And they're still going to face the same neurochemistry consequences that you have the ginormous nutsack to just admit.
Right.
They won't look themselves in the mirror like you do. They won't.
It's that quick fix that they didn't want to do what it takes to get to this level of these people that they're watching on social media. They want to do that shortcut.
Yeah.
And at any expense. But what the expense, your brain's not even developed.
Yeah.
You haven't lived life at all. You're still at home with mom, dad. You got homework tonight.
Right.
And you want to inject Tren. That's insane.
It's going to make you dumber.
Very dumb.
How dumb yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, to recall all this, I've really had to dig deep. So it's I'm an idiot, right? I have a business and all this. I'm figuring it out every single day. I am a goofy meathead, not serious about anything type of person. So you got these kids, they haven't even figured out their personality yet.
Right.
So what are you going to turn into if you survive?
You were a Marine, bro. Like when you tell me, yeah, I was a Marine and you had a schedule, these high schoolers, they think like, first off, not everyone gets to be spoiled like Russo and live that influencer life. Like most of the time it fizzles out and they're risking brain chemistry damage that you self-admit. Yeah. And they won't amount to half your physique.
That's what's,
it's just bonkers. It's bonkers. Really, it's truly crazy.
Sad, honestly, because like the amount of kids I get praising this stuff, and if I even dig in, like I can break their surface so easy. It's like, how are you eating? How often do you train? How do you train? They haven't even figured that out.
Like I like the Tren twins, and the Tren twins reached out to me, and like they're entertaining characters. They're super strong. When you're giving a 15-year-old a shirt that says Tren Tech, you're imprinting this drug that only should be used in contest prep the last 5 weeks.
The last 5 weeks.
That's how I see it as a guru, right?
That's like anything.
You cruised on it for years, and you have trauma that you can tell at any bar, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck's wrong with this guy?" Right? Bro, okay.
And it's all self-induced.
Yeah,
I gave myself a PTSD. Like I fucked myself up, and it's just such a crazy thought that these kids want to do it. And even after I talk to them about it,
I'm just saying they don't look anything like you. You look like the big dog. Like, like okay, yeah, he's big. He takes like when guys come up to me in the gym and it's a stick figure. I'm like you said, I'm like, so what's the caloric intake?
Exactly.
Oh, you don't track it. Right. Okay. So your metabolism's already fast and you're skyrocketing it with Tren.
Right.
Oh, you copied that dosage of that guy that also doesn't look like he lived. All right. All right, what's going on here?
It's just that quick fix. It's just like anything else on social media. Like you get desensitized to it. So the more you see Tren, just like if you go on X, how many dead bodies do you see?
Right.
You're becoming desensitized to something that you shouldn't see all the time. So when everyone's shirt says Tren Tech, or they're praising it on YouTube and talking about how fun it is, and you're seeing these people act like animals, you think that's cool because they're getting clicks and views. What's a click and a view?
Yeah, and the Tren twins, one of them tore their pec, and you could say that their central nervous system is fried.
I tore this pec twice and this pec once.
There you go. Do you think your CNS was a little bit too...
The body does not keep up with the strength.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure your pecs aren't the same after...
Got a flat spot in this one. This one kind of healed up a little bit, but this one will never be the same.
You need pretty muscles.
I need pretty muscles, right?
Or you shouldn't be taking Tren.
So building up everything around it.
All right, guys. I'm sure you guys like this video. As always, he's a local in the scene. We're going to have his supplement store up, but check out Vinnie at Faze Up Nutrition, and I will see you guys in my next video.